TV, film, and theatre. They are all art forms that shape society, right? Surely, the more representative we are on stage and active in engaging different communities across the UK, the better. Yes, that's right. We're talking equal opportunities, inclusion, who's responsible for choosing the stories that get told, and more importantly, who is telling them. And welcome to our official NYMT podcast series, Open House, the podcast that brings you insight and inspiration from a whole host of incredible guests and friends of NYMT in celebration of our 50th anniversary. Yes, that's right. Over 50 years of musical theatre for young people. With me, your host, David. And I think it's fair to say I have been around and a part of a fair few of those years, but definitely not all 50 of them, I can assure you. And you can find out even more about our 2026 season and how to get involved on the socials at NYMT UK or online nymt.org.uk. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, I am delighted to be joined today by our fabulous co-host and young company member, Tochi Arinze. Tochi, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm very, very good. Thank you. It's so fabulous to have you with us. I'm delighted to see you. And it's great to have you joining us for this episode. Tell us, you're an NYMT Young Company member. What have you been up to? What was your last NYMT show? And what are you currently doing?
My last NYMT show was Fame, where I played Miss Sherman last year, 2025. Um, and I'm currently up to sixth form, and I think I will be going to the degree next year. So, yeah.
Oh, fingers crossed for you,
Oh,
Tochi.
fingers
Fingers
crossed.
crossed. And tell us, what were you doing and what was your story pre-NYMT? Where were you studying? What were you up to?
Pre-NYMT, I lived in Nigeria until I was 13 or 14, nearly 14. I moved here and then I found out what musical theatre was and I was like, let's give this a crack. And then I started NYMT in 2023 and that was kind of like the beginning of musical theatre for me. And yeah, and
I
it's
love
just,
it. Quite new to it then, right? Only a few
yeah,
years. And let me
yeah.
tell you, listeners, listen, I've heard Tochi sing and I can tell you, she is certainly giving this musical theatre thing a crack. That is for sure. 100% absolute powerhouse vocals. But
Thank
listen, it's
you.
lovely to hear from you and thank you for joining us for our episode. But tell us, I know it's not just you joining us. We have two gorgeous guests as well. Who have we got on the show?
First off, we have Georgina Onuorah, who is a two-time Olivier Award-nominated actress, making a strong impression on the UK's musical theatre scene. She's best known for her performances in Shucked at Regent's Park Open Air Theatre and Kiss Me Kate, where she's showcased both her powerhouse vocals and vibrant stage presence. She trained at ArtSed and Emildale, as well as NYMT, of course. Georgina has quickly built a reputation as a versatile performer, bringing energy, charisma, and emotional depth to every role she takes on. Next up, we have Chris Tendai, who is a dynamic choreographer and movement director, known for his bold, expressive style and strong storytelling through movement. His work blends precision with creativity, bringing energy and clarity to every production he's a part of. With a growing presence in the industry, Chris has built a reputation for creating choreography that not only enhances performances, but helps performers connect more deeply with characters and narrative.
Wowzers. Two incredible guests. Let's get going. This is Open House. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hi.
Hello.
Hi, Georgina. Hi, Chris. Welcome to you both. How are you doing?
I'm really good. Very excited to be here.
It's so great to have you. Chris, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to it.
And joining us, I have to say, I'm just going to say it straight from the start. Chris is joining us all the way from Australia, literally the other side of the world. NYMT is going international, my friends. This is fantastic.
International.
It's so great to have you both with us, with our fabulous co-host Tocchi as well. But listen, I want to dive straight in, and I want to kick off by asking you the question that we ask all of our guests. youth theatre. Theatre when you were young, cast your mind back. What is your first memory of theatre as a young Chris or a young Georgina? Georgina, what was it for you?
I mean, the very first show like I saw in London. So I'm from Luton, and London's like a big, big trip out. And it was like my eighth birthday. We went to watch The Lion King, and I remember being just like, I was so dumbfounded. Like I had no words. I was so shocked by what I was seeing. I don't think I knew what theatre was when I was that age. I just remember being so amazed. So that was like the very first time, which is a very cool way to see theatre for the first time.
It's a cool show. It's a cool first show to see. I
It's
mean,
a cool first show.
there's lots of shows out there that are a little bit smaller and they don't all have, giant puppets, elephants and giraffes in the opening number, but it's a cool show.
It's a very cool show.
It's a very cool show. Chris, how about you?
I think what comes to mind, I think for me, again, I didn't really know much about the theatre scene and musical theatre scene, but we had our Christmas nativity play, and that was the thing back in primary school. So I just remember each year we would put on a version of a nativity. And I remember getting the part as the innkeeper, and like that was the role. That was the role for me. So I think, yeah, I just always go back to that memory of being the innkeeper, being the only one on stage, and giving it my all when I was like 7 years old.
I think Christmas nativity is where it starts for so many. Tocchi, were you having Christmas nativities when you were 7, 8 years old?
Yes, we had oh my gosh. We did have Christmas nativity because we don't always have Christmas concerts. And yeah, it was really cute. I think that was kind of musical theatre, so
Absolutely. I love a musical theatre Christmas nativity. They're the best. They're the best kinds of nativity. Now, Chris, you're a fabulous creative and you've worked with NYMT a lot as a choreographer. Georgina, you actually were in NYMT when you were younger. Tell us about that. What show were you doing? Where was it? When was it? Who did you play? And what did you take away from the experience as a whole?
So I did Sweet Charity over 10 years ago. I was
10
in the
years! 10 years
ensemble. 10
ago!
years, like a long time. A lot
A
of time has
long time!
passed.
A long
I was
time!
little. We were all little. We were all little, weren't we,
We were,
David?
definitely, we were. Yeah, a long time for me as well.
And I was in the ensemble. I actually was on the reserve list. I used to be really, really shy. And like NYMT, I was so excited about for years and years, but I was too scared to audition. And that year, I finally was like, Georgina, you need to do it. And it just worked out. I got a place and I did that show. And I was still so shy. You're allowed to be shy and be a performer. But when I was on stage, I like came alive. My mum was so nervous for me. When your parents are just like stressed out because they're like, are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, I
You're
love
shy,
that.
aren't you?
Well, if you look back, when did shy Georgina turn into not quite so shy Georgina, and what was like the tipping point in that?
I think it's just, I don't know, believing in yourself. Also, not trying to be what I thought confident must look like or what I thought you had to be an actor. I think you got to stay true to yourself and what suits you, and you can still do that alongside performing.
100%. It's something that Tochi and I were talking about before we started the show, actually. And I know something else that we were chatting about, which I want to run to you, Chris, was what was it that first drew you into musical theatre? When you cast your mind back, what was that starting point that you thought, hang on a minute, this is kind of cool?
Gosh, it was when I just finished secondary school actually, and my drama teacher was very much like, you could do this, like you could make something of this as a career. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do my A levels in geography and not really take this on as such. But I auditioned for a college in Leicestershire called Melton Mowbray. And it was like the performing arts college of the county at the time. And I originally got onto the acting course. I was like, great, this is what I want to do. And then it was my first day on the course, and we were having a talk from the teacher, And in the next room, I heard the musical theatre group sing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to be in there. Just something within me was like, no, that's where I need to be. So the following day, I asked if I could switch courses onto the musical theatre course. And again, I had no clue, no idea what to expect or
A
anything.
leap of faith.
Um, but yeah, I'm a sucker for a leap of faith. So I thought, why not? Let's go. And I think it was the best decision I've ever made.
What a leap of faith for you. And I think that comes back to what Georgina was saying as well. Shy Georgina taking that leap of faith and taking herself to that NYMT audition in Sweet Charity, in the ensemble. But look at her now, absolutely smashing it from production to production. Tocchi, when you think of a leap of faith in your training and your early stage of your career, what's a leap of faith been like for you?
I think for me, this whole like academic year, I've been auditioning for drama schools and stuff. And in that, I had surgery for my knee as well. And I think there was a lot that came with that when it came to like auditioning and then also having to think, oh yeah, I'm injured and I don't know what's going to happen. And I was like, there was a lot of doubt in my mind about what I was going to do. And I think a leap of faith was signing up for those auditions. I think there was a lot of schools I didn't end up auditioning for because I was afraid of rejection because I was injured. And I think the leap of faith was just pushing myself to do the at least the main schools that I knew I wanted to go to. And I think yeah, it's all worked out, which I'm really surprised about. But I'm yeah.
100%. It's definitely working out so far. Now that we've got to know you all, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you here, I know what all the listeners want to hear, and I cannot wait to deep dive into it. We're going to talk awards, people. We're talking awards and nominations because both of our guests, Chris and Georgina, there's been some exciting nominations over the last few years and some really exciting stuff going on. I want to talk about the Black British Theatre Awards, which is something that you've both received nominations from. For our some listeners that may not have heard the organisation or the awards process or the awarding body, Chris, tell us a little bit about Black British Theatre Awards as an organisation.
Yeah, so they are a really great organization that represents, celebrates, and supports Black work and Black theatre within our industry, which I think is amazing. And they've been around for about 8 years now. Um, and it is a fantastic, fantastic evening. And also have um, nominations and sections in there that again you wouldn't necessarily see in other award ceremonies as well. So it's just a great celebration and showcase of black and brown artistry within our theatre.
When you were nominated, what area were you nominated for? What was the project?
So I've been nominated twice. So for 2024, I was nominated for Best Choreography or Movement Director for a show which was Closer to Heaven that I did at the Turbine Theatre. And for my 2025 nomination, this was for Best Choreographer as well. Um, for another wonderful show that I got to do, which was last summer,
He's so booked and
which was
blessed. He's
great.
so they all just blur into one. But actually, Chris and Georgina, you've actually just done a job together, right? You've just finished All Is But a Fantasy at the other place with the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Yeah, we have indeed.
Uh,
Such
we
a
have.
coincidence. Chris, tell us about that project. How was it, and what was the piece like?
Oh my gosh, this piece was probably one of the most thrilling, complex shows I've had the pleasure to be part of. This is where Shakespearean text meets gig theatre, gig musical theatre, where you had a four-part handler within this, telling four Shakespearean stories, but telling this from um, a narrative coming from the female characters within Shakespearean plays, and what their what they experience within that and what that is like, and also coming from a place of what happens when you are a female, but also you are a black or a brown artist playing these roles, and the effects that that has um, within Shakespeare, but also within the rooms of Shakespeare as well. It's a play, it's a show that kind of takes down the fourth wall at times within the show, where we kind of are in the text, but then we can come out and we can have a conversation with the audience as well, which I think has never really been done before in this way. And I think has the potential to be the next big thing in my
And from a
in
point of
my
view of
my
choreography
opinion.
and movement, how did you set up that language and that style through your choreography in the piece? Give us a sneak peek and insight into the mind of Chris.
So I was associate choreographer on this particular production, and I worked closely with the choreographer. Her name is Sarita, and love Sarita. She used to teach me at college, so it's a very
Shout out
full
to you,
circle
Sarita.
moment. Shout out to Sarita. And I think what we wanted to do within this production is, I think, allow it to be as honest as possible, um, and as, how would I say, abstract. I'll give that word.
I like
Wonderfully
it. I like it. We'll
abstract
take
as
it.
well.
Abstract.
Um, so there was a lot of discussion of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to represent the story within the movement at this time. And whilst, we can give you the musical theatre formula as such, we wanted to go further than that, where, where it's kind of play meets musical theatre. I think if we do too much, it just becomes a bit gimmicky. And I think if you do too little, then we're not showcasing and representing the story enough. So we really wanted to find that balance of what that was. And yeah, I think we kind of found our kind of, we called it like witchy formula, as we had the three witches essentially from Macbeth within the show. And I think very similarly to, your Hamiltons and things like that, where it's the ensemble and the trio that kind of led and pushed the narrative forward for our protagonists within the show.
How did you find out? Because I know you said you wanted to do musical theatre. You did the course on musical theatre. How did you find out you wanted to go into dance specifically instead of all of musical theatre, like musical theatre as a whole? How did you find out you wanted to do choreography and stay as a creative instead of a performer?
Um, Good question. um, when I started drama school, I went to the Erdang Academy, now known as the Erdang. Um, Gosh, somewhat over 10 years ago. Hopefully the lines aren't showing. Um,
Definitely not. Definitely not. That's when Georgina and I were working on Sweet Charity at NYMT. So it's all
yeah.
good. It's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, I did professional dance and musical theatre on the BA honours degree course, and when I started Erdang, ideally that was like when my official technical training started. I'd not really had technical training beforehand. It was very much creativity and building things from scratch, which was amazing and stimulated me and allowed me to learn in those ways of artistry. And I think when I started going into my dance classes, I was like, whoa, like, what is this? This is incredibly difficult, but incredibly fulfilling at the same time. So I think from when I started my first year, I was very much of like, this is something that I really want to do. And I knew I wanted to do more dance heavy shows and things like that. Um, I think it's the fitness side. I love fitness. I love pushing my body to its limits and progressing. So I think dance gives me
It's in
that.
your soul. It's in
Um,
your veins.
it's my
It's in your
whole
body.
being.
I love it. And yeah, I tell you what,
um,
fingers crossed. There's another BBTA nomination coming your way for your work on All Is Better Fantasy with the RSC. Keeping everything crossed for you. And what an amazing production it must have been to be a part of. Now, carrying on with our little discussion of nominations to a Miss Georgina. Two, not one, but two Olivier Award nominations, which is absolutely incredible for
It's
Miss Georgina
crazy.
Onuorah. Did you see it coming?
Not at all. You could never see something like that coming. It's the craziest thing that's ever happened to me.
I'm gonna go straight in. Where were you when you found out? What was your reaction? Who was with you? Tell us everything.
Well, it was actually quite a busy day. I was doing like a reading for a new show and it started at 12:30. The whole nominations get announced at 12. So I was like, I'm gonna just do work in the coffee shop. I can't watch the live because it will just make me feel queasy and I need to focus on my work later. So I was in a coffee shop with my partner and I was like, oh, just have a glance, like, oh, I wonder what's been going on. She was like, and I was like, oh no, oh my God, oh my God. We both were screaming in the coffee shop in King's Cross. And then I had to get myself together and then go to work.
Any strange looks from fellow coffee drinkers?
I mean, honestly, I could have been anywhere. I couldn't see anyone else. I just could not believe what was going on. I was calling all my friends. My mum FaceTimed me straight
What
away.
was
It
Mum's
was,
reaction? Tell us what was Mum's
oh,
reaction. Was
bless
she
her,
was she in
Selena,
tears?
crying her eyes out. Of course she was.
Oh,
Imagine your kid's like shy, and this is where we end up. She was so proud, so
Shy
proud.
Georgina going to her NYMT audition is now a two-time Olivier Award nomination. If there is anyone listening that wasn't aware of the nominations or isn't quite sure what you might have been nominated for, tell us, what shows were they and what category were you nominated in?
So I was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in a Musical for my role as Lulu in Shucked, which was at Regent's Park Open Air Theatre. And then with the crazy turn of events, I spent my whole summer at Regent's Park and I also did Brigadoon and I shared the role with Danielle Fiamagna and I've been nominated for Best Actress in a Musical for that role.
What was that crazy turn of events? How did that come about? What happened?
It was just all very last minute. I joined on the Monday before tech and my studio run was on the Friday, and then we went into tech. Um,
Unbelievable.
the Scottish accent, I didn't have that before,
Can
so
we have a little sneak preview now?
absolutely not. It's been too many months now.
Been
I was
far too
really
many
drilling
months.
that.
I bet. I mean, I'm not even going to try either. Chris, what's your Scottish accent like? Have you got it?
oh no, no, no! You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that.
Let's just so Tocchi. Anything from you with a Scottish accent?
I've got to sit down.
Okay.
Sit down.
Ah, yes.
Hey! Yeah.
I hope there was a few lines that said "sit down" in there. I love that, Tocchi. That's amazing.
Perfect, fantastic.
What was it like doing an open air production, Georgina? Tackling the elements, out in the wind, the rain. How was that?
It's such a cool venue for that because yeah, when it's really sunny, like imagine in a matinee, on a sunny day you're in the park, you've got a hat on, you're in the shade, and we are in the center of the sun. So you'd be in your costumes, dying of sweat, or it'd be really raining and you'd be trying not to slip over. I fell 3 times during Brigadoon. I've got videos. I will post it one day.
Oh, well, keep an eye on that. And if you're listening and you don't already follow our guest on the socials, that's a reason to follow them as it is to get the edit bloopers of a slip
Get the
on
behind the
stage
scenes,
mid-production.
yeah.
Get the behind the scenes. And before those two fabulous productions at Regent's Open Air Theatre, you did some fabulous roles. Tell us about those. And I think a few of them would be roles that would typically not previously been played by an actress of colour. And amazing that you took on those roles and to such critical acclaim. Tell us about just one or two of those.
Well, I guess the first one that comes to mind is I played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. I played it at the Leicester Curve, and then I transferred it to the London Palladium. Um, that was just such an exciting role because everyone who knows me in life knows I'm a Dorothy, but historically, it hasn't gotten to be a young black woman. And this is obviously there's also The Wiz, which is a different show, which is really entrenched in like black culture, and I think it's amazing. It's a completely different score. Um, our score was quite. I guess it is a legit show. So yeah, I felt in the audition process, I knew I was different to how they might have cast it before. And doing that run, I just got messages and messages from young black girls who felt really seen, and I think that's everything that I do it for. So that was a really, really special job for that reason.
And the importance of that, I don't think you can quite put a value on how important that is, right? For those young girls to see someone that looks like them doing that role on that stage. Tochi, what would you add to that?
Um, I think for me, as a black girl that's like trying to get up into the industry, still in drama school and stuff, I think having representation like that is so important. Um, I started musical theatre not too long ago, and I there are quite a few people I can count the amount of black women that I know are role models for me in musical theatre. And I think it's just so important to like get more representation in the industry because there are so many talented actresses of color, actors of color that are just not is that sometimes it's not reflected in the industry today. And I feel like that's for me more than anything. I don't want to be like the token, you know? Like I want to be there because I deserve to be there, not because it's because of diversity or because oh yeah, she needs to be like that different person. But I think we're moving in the right direction, I would
For
hope.
sure.
So yeah, I'm excited to see what the future holds for young black actors and actresses and actors and actresses of color and yeah.
Chris, do you think it's improving across theatre in the UK? Representation and inclusion across theatre regionally? Is it on the up?
I think we are heading in the right direction. I do think it is slow and steady. And I think there is a lot more work to do. However, I think people raising their voices is a big, big thing. And it's so wonderful to see, especially performers out there. Um, and I think, as touchy as you said about, not being the token, not being that person, which was when I graduated, that's what it was. That's what it was like. It was like you wanted to go for that one ethnic track that was in the show. And now, we are seeing more diversity within companies, which is great. I think for me personally, I think we now need to go to the creative side, and now we need more wonderful creatives of color within these companies and these shows. So we're going in the right direction, and we've got to keep doing it, keeping knocking down those doors, and for us to be unapologetic about it as well.
I think unapologetic is the key word, without doubt. There's nothing to apologise for. It's important, and it has to be a vital part of theatre. It's art. It's for everyone across the country, across the world, no matter what race or religion you may be. Chris, what does meaningful representation look like to you? Then it doesn't become tokenism. It's real. It's in the right direction. What does that look like in your mind? Because I know not only are you a performer, a choreographer, but you also set up your own dance company as well. So I guess you have that opportunity to be really influential at grassroots level.
Yeah, for me, I have my own dance theatre company called CTC Dance Company, and we like to spark important conversations through narrative movement. And I think being in a commercial industry where it sometimes feel difficult to see that representation, I wanted to really have that as the pinnacle. Of my company and have that diversity and inclusivity within the company. And it's not that hard, just letting everyone else know that, to do that because there is so much talent out there, as we've all discussed. And showcasing that talent and having that uniqueness within a group and a company is such a beautiful thing. And I feel sometimes people can be quite afraid of that. But actually, seeing that unity on stage is a beautiful thing. So I really want to shout out loud. About diversity and inclusivity within my company. And I really like to showcase and hone about telling inclusive stories within our work. And we do a lot about LGBT plus stories and mental health awareness stories as well. Um, and it comes to, I mean, I think, kind of going back to the tokenism kind of feel, having been on panels and observed panels as well of where it's like, yes, but we've got to have, diversity in there as such, just because when it's like, oh no, like we can actually find people and bring people together because they are talented and because they fit the brief. And I think it is, having characters that are, made up, and I think when we see a vision of what these characters were like beforehand and who we've grown up with, to showcase and tell these stories in a way of how stories are and they are made up and things like that, so it doesn't matter who is playing the roles. However, they can showcase um the character authentically, for audiences. So yeah, I think I kind of go back to it's not that hard.
Yeah,
I think.
people listening, if you're working creatively or a producer or anywhere in theatre, you heard it here. Chris Tendai, it's not that hard. There's so much we can all do. I mean, Georgina playing the role of Dorothy, for example, is a moment where you must have felt so seen and so true to yourself and bringing everything that makes you a fabulous performer to the role of Dorothy in the most fantastic way. And it was the most gorgeous performance, and I can't think of any other way or performer to have done that role. Have there been any moments prior to that in a casting or in a room where you felt unseen as a performer or felt like it's not quite gone the way you would have hoped in the way that you'd imagined?
Um, I think like within the topic we're talking about, I think being black on stage, you want it to not change the story because I'm an actor and I want to be the best person for the job, and that's the reason why I got the job. But equally, I am black and that's how I walk around in the world. So it can't be ignored. So that leads into conversations about like hair. I've had some difficult conversations, but everyone's learnt difficult conversations are important. But about like my wigs, for example. So I know if a white actress played Dorothy, you might have put her in two pigtails and it'd be straight hair, but my hair wouldn't be straight. My hair might be in braids, it might be in an afro. And because of what Chris has said about teams not often being diverse, you are having to be the person with the information as an actor, which I would hope will change the next, 5, 10 years. But yeah, that's what I would say. That's what I struggled with at the start, where I didn't feel like I had a voice. And now I feel more empowered to educate people with what they need so that we can all create amazing theatre.
Chris, I can see you nodding. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've also been in situations like that of I've gone into a show and they've given me a hairspray and a little comb, and I have had to go and have that conversation with the wigs department and say, I can't use that in my hair, and things with wigs as well. And I think that is a conversation, I think, as Georgina has said, of allowing that conversation to be had to us as artists if we are performing, rather than the performer having to go to educate the team. So when we are in a hopefully a better place in the next coming years of that, and conversations are starting slowly, but it's making sure that the creative team can give the best support to the artists that they have brought on for the show.
And I think youth theatre plays an important role as well. And I like to think that at NYMT we are playing an active, positive role in the future, because we're working with creatives and opening our doors to young people. That it's totally inclusive. We want to be as welcoming to all young people, regardless of your of where you might come from or your background. It's a place for everyone to come together and make theatre together. And I think that's what's so important, particularly in youth theatre, keeping theatre as accessible to everyone so that everyone feels involved. Tochi, what would be your thoughts on that?
I think 100% I completely agree. There's I honestly do not know where I'd be if I didn't do NYMT. NYMT was my first form of musical theatre, and I started off because I moved from Nigeria to um, the UK, and I thought musical theatre was a really cool thing. So I started Stagecoach, and my singing teacher, who was also a woman of colour, had told me about NYMT, and I think I auditioned and I got the concert, and that was really where my journey with musical theatre started. But like even ever since then, which was beginning of 2023 till now, every single thing I have achieved, I can say NYMT has had something to do with it. And I think that's a like testament to how inclusive they are. Like it's honestly, I don't know. I'd probably be in sixth form right now trying to figure out my psychology A level or something. Like I would be, yeah. NYMT and youth theatre as a whole is very important in shaping the futures of young performers. And I know about that firsthand, and I'm sure you guys know as well. I think a lot of youth theatres are what make people performers who they are. Some people do youth theatre and don't even go on to training, but because of the foundation that has been set and built by that youth theatre, they have become amazing performers and amazing stars. And I think, yeah, keeping youth theatre a place where it can be accessible from for everyone, no matter what background, race, gender, sexuality, anything, keeping that accessible for anyone is what will make the future of musical theatre and theatre as a whole bright and good.
I couldn't agree
So
with you more.
yeah.
Could not agree with you
Mhm,
more.
mhm.
And thank you so much for sharing. It's so important to have those views from one of our own young company members in doing NYMT this summer. Chris, you talked a lot about the stories that we're telling, and I think that plays such a huge part in it. And I'm going to come to you next on this, Georgina, so you get a bit of a heads up. What stories do you think we need to be seeing more of? We need to be telling and putting on our stages in theatres across the UK?
Oh, what a good question. Um, I think for me personally, I would love to see more uh, black and brown led stories to be told, and that to become more of a norm. I think what I want to do, kind of what's next for me, creative wise, is that I want to revive um, black led shows and black led musicals from the 40s and 50s, as there are so many amazing shows, amazing music that have not necessarily, have been on Broadway, have never made it over here, or have been forgotten about. And I would love to bring them back and tell their stories again, and bring the element of jazz, of your real Broadway jazz, and bring that back to the stage, of kind of where we've all got our inspiration from the greats, and I think that's a really important thing to
Oh
tell.
yeah, the greats and the legends.
The
There are some iconic,
legends.
iconic artists and voices from that era. Georgina, who would be an iconic artist or voice of yours that you look back on as maybe an inspiration? And what sort of theatre or stories do you want to see being told across theatres in the UK?
Talking about the inspiration, I think I got like a musical theatre album, like in a charity shop when I was really, really young. And it was Louise Dearman's album. And it's like an album of
Yes.
different covers from different musicals. And I remember her cover of Tell Me on a Sunday. The way I learnt that song exactly how she sang it. Like I can hear her singing it in my head right now. I used to play it like 10 times a day. I was one of those kind of
I
kids.
love it.
But she's like a real early inspiration. But in terms of like what theatre I'd love to be made now, I'd love it to be riskier. I think everyone's a bit stressed about money. People are producing and trying to make as much money as they can, which then means we don't take risks and we don't always put on interesting stories anymore. And like All Is But Fantasy was like a real unique project in the sense that there's been nothing like it that I've ever encountered, ever seen, ever worked on. And audience members were so just amazed by it because they hadn't had anything like it. And I just think audiences want to be challenged and we should encourage that. And people will spend their money because they want to be challenged. That's why we all go to the theatre. And a side note, bring back dancing. I feel like, yeah, all the new musicals I've seen recently, like the person singing is never doing a little boom cat. Bring back the boom cats.
Bring back the boom cats. I
Bring back the
absolutely
boom
love
cats.
it. Well,
Amen.
listen,
Amen.
let's bring back those bum cats, but also let's bring on some questions from Tocchi because we are coming to the end of this episode, and I'm not sure about you, but I honestly feel so inspired to have heard, rather easy for me to say, so inspired to hear from two incredible artists who we are so lucky to have part of our NYMT family. I know Tocchi's got a couple of questions from our listeners. So, Tocchi, fire away.
Okay, so Georgina, Daisy, 17, asks, what were the main things you learned from your NYMT journey that you are taking into your career today?
That's a really good question, Daisy. I would say the biggest thing I took was that you are powerful, you are strong, and that doesn't have to look one way. I had such amazing support from the community I made at NYMT. And actually, the girl who played Charity, she's the reason why I've ended up even doing this because I met her at NYMT and she told me to audition for Mealdale, which is near my hometown. And that began my like professional training journey where I did my degree in the end at Arts Ed. But yeah, it's the community and you're powerful and really lean on your community.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And Chris, George, 15, asks, how important is it to focus on one style of dance for you?
Yeah, I think for me, I always say hone in on the technique. Ballet is your best friend. Technical jazz is your best friend. And once you have an understanding of that technical ability, it goes into all other areas of dance. So you can really utilize that skill when you are learning choreography. And I'll always say, learn your basic groove fundamentals as well, because it's there. If you want to go in the West End, it's all there for you. So yeah, I would say hone in on your technical abilities, hone in on that ballet, and it will filter in into other sectors.
Thank you so much. Honestly, such wise words and two great questions there. I'm gonna steal the spotlight, if I may, Tocchi, with the last question. So, 2026 is the NYMT season of dreams. There's a theme of dreams that's running through our entire season. And the question to both of our guests, to you, Chris, and to Georgina, but to you first, Chris, is what is a dream of yours? It can be industry based, career based, personal, friends, or family. Chris, what's a dream for you?
Or, well, I've already had a dream come true of being on the West End, so that's a dream ticked off. And my next dream is to be an Olivier Award-winning choreographer. So it's already manifesting. We're already here with Georgina, two-time Olivier Award nominee. So it's manifesting right now, here and now. So that's the
I
next
can
dream for
feel it.
me.
I can feel it in the air. And Georgina, how about you?
No, for me, I think my dream would be to do this for the rest of my life. Like, I think you have these amazing pinnacles in this career and they've been unbelievable. But I think my ultimate dream is to say that, you know, when I'm 95, this was my career. This is what I did for my whole life. This is how I paid the bills. Like,
I
what an honor.
I absolutely adore that. I'm not going to lie. For a minute, I thought you were talking about this podcast, and I thought, oh, that's nice. And then I realized we're looking a little bit broader and a bit wider than that. But, you know, some really inspiring comments there. So insightful. And thank you both so much. Tocchi, thank you so much for being our fabulous co host.
Thank you so much for having
It's
me.
been absolutely lovely having you. And to our absolutely extraordinary guests, powerhouses of musical theatre in their own right, Chris and Georgina, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a
Thank you.
fabulous episode. And I think when it comes to diversity and inclusion, as our guest said, yeah, we're moving in the right direction. There's a lot of work to do, but I think youth theatres across the country and NYMT has a huge role to play. As Chris said, well, it's not that hard, people. And as Georgina said, well, let's bring back the bum car. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
That's it for today's episode, and thanks so much for listening to Open House. If you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment wherever you're listening from. And hey, why not tell a friend? The more the merrier. Check out nymt.org.uk to learn how you can support us, get involved, and what's on throughout the season. Or find us at NYMT UK on the socials, and why not drop us a message with what guests you want to see and hear from in a future episode. So long, farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye.